Hello, everyone. Oh man, it feels like it's been forever since I felt this good and since I've been feeling healthy. It took me a long, long, long time to heal from this COVID. I don't know if I'm completely healed yet. I feel like I still have moments where I'm like, I don't know. But I'm really happy to have these conversations with you. And it's interesting because I'm going to talk a lot more about my experience with COVID in the next few videos because I felt like it was kind of actually quite a spiritual experience for me. I felt like I, died and then came back, and then I'm like, whenever I get sick again, I kind of feel like I'm kind of going through a process of rebirth. But I'll speak a lot more about that in the future. But I was gonna speak today about context and INFJs because I haven't done an INFJ video in a while, and this is something that I've been thinking about quite a bit recently. So just to start off with a little bit of a background story, recently I was speaking to a friend of mine who has ADHD and is an INFJ as well, and we were speaking about how I was telling her how I have a hard time remembering faces. So I gave her an example of how I have these Lazada drivers coming to deliver packages for me. And Lazada is like an Amazon, but in Asia. I think it's based in Malaysia, but they have them in Thailand, they have them in Indonesia. I'm pretty sure they have them in other countries as well. But I've only been in these two countries and they have them here, and it's brilliant. I mean, it's Amazon for Asia, so you get all of these items that you can't normally get. And it's very useful for me because I have some items that I want that are kind of American or Canadian versions of items that they don't sell here, but I can get them through Lazada. So, I'll get these packages delivered. And recently a Lazada driver, he gave me my package and said, "Oh, you've moved." And I was like, "Oh, yes, I have moved." And I'm looking at his face and I'm thinking to myself, has this person delivered to me before? And I have to admit, and I felt really terrible about it, I do not remember this person's face at all. And I'm kind of trying to justify it in my head saying, maybe he was wearing a mask before. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But, I started thinking a little bit more about it, and I realized that actually I don't remember a lot of faces. Even my friend who I was speaking to, I was thinking about it. I'm like, do I remember her face? And I thought to myself, if I hadn't seen it in her profile pic, I don't know if I would have remembered it. Can I remember my own face? I started thinking, and I was like, sometimes I can't. Actually, I'll sometimes look in the mirror and I'll think to myself, that's me. That's what I look like. And so, she was telling me how face blindness is a thing, and she has it, my friend, and that maybe I have it as well. And so I was kind of thinking over it, and I was like, maybe I do, maybe I don't. It doesn't really matter, but it's a good thing to know that this is a possibility so that I don't feel like a bad person or a terrible person for not remembering people's faces, because I will have long conversations with a person and then a moment later think to myself when they leave, what did that person look like? I'll remember one or two details about them, like I'll remember that they had really blue eyes, or they had a mole underneath their eyebrow or something, something like that. But like I will not remember the detail, like the full picture of their face, unless it's in context. And so that's a big thing for face blindness, is that it has to be in context. So we will remember someone that is a barista that makes coffee for us daily because we see them, and then we'll see them there and we're like, oh yeah, that's the barista. But if we see them somewhere else, not wearing the uniform and just doing their random daily tasks, if they say hello to us with face blindness, you're like, I have no idea who you are, right? And so of course the uniform obviously matters, but it's also other things. If I don't see a person regularly and then I see them randomly walking down a market street, I'll sometimes have a hard time remembering who this person is, and I really have to force myself and really focus and concentrate for a few seconds to be like, okay, what is this person? Who is this person? What's their name? And these are people I've hung out with a lot, and I would consider friends, but it's just that it has to be in context, it has to be regular, and otherwise it just kind of slips from my memory. And so, it's good to know these kind of things about myself, because for the longest time, I had all these weird quirks and I just assumed that I was crazy or there was something wrong with me. And, as I said, the reason I do these videos for INFJs is also because I want people to know it's not that you're crazy. It's not that there's something wrong with you. It's just a quirk. It's something that you're born with, something perhaps you have, a personality trait, something that's genetic, something that is just inside of you and you can't do anything about it. And just berating yourself for it or calling yourself names for it is not going to help the situation. And so context with INFJs matters a lot as well. I've realized, and this is something just my own theory, so if it doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't matter. But I was thinking that a lot of times when I'm thinking about certain items or when I'm dealing with certain situations, the context of it matters quite a bit. And I'm going to give you a weird example and you're going to be like, but I think it'll explain the situation better. So I was thinking about how, I think I remember telling you the story beforehand as well, but I remember how I never liked a certain couple, a celebrity couple. I don't remember who they were exactly now. But I was thinking to myself, I don't like them. I think they're okay. I mean, I didn't think anything about them. They weren't obviously in my purview. And, I just ignored them and everything was fine, nothing to do with me. But then I started reading something about how this couple is very much enthusiastic about charity organizations and particularly giving to organizations in Africa and related to providing clean water and things like that, and education to women, to girls. And as soon as I read that, for some reason, as soon as that context hit me, the fact that they're doing good in the world, they're just not a celebrity couple doing whatever they want to do with their life and time and money, but they're actually giving back to the world. They're using their power as a celebrity to give back to the world and to spread information and knowledge about, awareness about issues that matter. And as soon as that, information, that news hit me, instantaneously my view of the couple, before it was completely non-existent, like didn't care, didn't know, but all of a sudden I'm like, oh, these are people that I actually want to know more about. These are people that I actually care to know more about, and that seem like I would want to spend time looking into further, right? Not that I did, but I could have. And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, it really does matter, what the background story, the context, the details of it is for an INFJ. We don't actually really, in everything, we don't want to be shallow or surface level, right? But particularly in a lot of different things where other people are like, yeah, it doesn't matter, they're just there and they're beautiful and they're good looking. Why not just look at them for that purpose? But no, that's not enough for us. We want to go further. We want to go deeper. The same thing with relationships, the same thing with conversations, the same thing with our education, same thing with our goals in life and the way we want to live our lives, our value systems, and our careers. Like everything has to be context-based and has to have a little bit of a deeper meaning to it. It can't just be surface level. It can't just be a shallow thing. Like even when I was sitting there and trying to decide when I was a child, what I wanted to do with my life, my mom was like, yeah, just become a doctor, you'll make loads of money and you'll be you'll be rich and powerful because money gives you power. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, well, that's a good reason, I guess, but it's not enough. It's not enough. It's just not enough. It's not going to motivate me. It's not going to inspire me. It's not going to make me excited about going onto this path. It's not something that's going to be really motivational and pushing me until I found medicine. I'm not going to say it right. Medicine Sans Frontiers, basically Doctors Without Borders. And I started reading about that, and I realized, whoa, if I become a doctor, then I can volunteer for this organization. I can go around and give free medical service to people who need it all over the world. And all of a sudden, that context, that switch, suddenly made me realize, yes, actually, I don't mind becoming a doctor. If I can give back to the world in this way, then yes, yeah, the money, blah, blah, blah. But that was like a secondary factor. The more important thing was like, yes, I can join this MSF organization, Medicine Sans Frontier or Doctors Without Borders, and then I can go around and actually give back and actually use this knowledge for something good, something better, something just more than money, something more than power, right? And so I always kind of think about it, and I think this is something that we can use as an INFJ to motivate ourselves further. We always need to find that context, that deeper meaning, something deeper besides the surface level thing that always comes up in every situation, right? And so if you're in a group situation, if you're in a social event and you're bored and you're like, oh, I want to get out of this place, you need to find something deeper, something more than surface level to make you enthusiastic about staying. So what I usually do is I usually just find one person that seems interesting to me and then start having a deep conversation with them, something, asking them deeper questions rather than, what's the weather like or something, or, what do you do for a living? What makes you glow? What's your passion? What do you get up for in the morning? And then having that deep conversation with the person, all of a sudden I'm enthusiastic, I'm excited, I'm happy to be in that party, in that social event. At first I wasn't, but you know, this kind of context, this deeper meaning, this something gives you that hold, right? And so INFJs need that hold. They need something deeper hold onto things. Otherwise we get bored, or we don't care. You know, it's very hard for us to care about things that don't matter to us, right? And I'm not saying that not everyone is like that, but for us particularly, everyone notices this about me. They're like, if you don't care about something, you don't give a rat's ass about it, or you don't care at all about it. I mean, you won't even think about it, you won't even look at it, you will pretend like it doesn't exist, right? And this is what INFJs do. We really need to care. And so if you need to motivate yourself, you know, for example, if you want to get excited about exercise or fitness, like, you have to give yourself a deeper meaning for it. You have to give yourself a deeper context, something that motivates you, something that matters to you. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. You're not going to stick with it. And then a year later, you're going to be thinking, oh, I should have started working out a year earlier, you know? And so it's something that we can use, as I said, as a linchpin, or as a motivational factor to get us to do things that normally we might not be interested in, yeah? And so I thought that I'd share this with you. I don't know if it makes sense to you, or if it's something that you can relate to as well. But I'd love to hear your stories of how you've used context, or this kind of like deeper meaning, this kind of something more to get yourself to do things that you normally would not. And let me know if you found meaning or sense in what I was saying. And if you enjoyed the video, then let me know that as well. I'd love to hear from all of you. I'm really happy that you are all here with me. And I hope you're all well and healthy and doing whatever you love to do in this world. I'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.